Welcome, everybody. Okay, wow, this is the Out of and Into Africa conference series. And this is the third such edition in this conference. Ishola Elemu, if you could introduce yourself, please. This is our program chair.
Hello, everyone. My name is Fatima Ishola Momo, second year MBA student with Morgan State University. I'm pleased to be part of the third annual Out of and Into Africa conference this year, and I will be managing you all through the conference.
Provost of Morgan State University.
I just want to thank the leadership for this conference because I believe you have the foresight. The reason I say that is Africa is the future. So there's out of Africa and into Africa. So we need to be both bringing South Africa out to the world and bring the world into Africa.
The dean of our business school, Graves School of Business and Management at Morgan State University.
We are extremely delighted to welcome on behalf of the faculty and students and staff of the Graves Business School, and welcome all of the guests from the United States and various African nations.
The Dean of Howard University's Business School.
Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you. I bring greetings from Howard University and certainly excited about this program and our participation in it.
It's Lauren Mante from the State Department.
Can you all see me and hear me? But thank you all for having me. I'm excited to join you all this morning. We're really excited to embark on the various collaborative opportunities and, the work that we have, particularly, with the diaspora. And so I think this morning I'll focus more on sort of the African diaspora and how we can really leverage the diaspora community to fold it into our engagement when it comes to our U.S. foreign policy objectives.
At this point in time, we're going to go into our plenary session. And the theme of this conference is Afri-capitalism. So I want to share some slides. I want to start up some slides there. So we've got the basically beginning with understanding, that academia is sort of falling behind or has been falling behind. For a long period of time, failing Africa, as I mentioned, using Africa as context. So the business research already meager regarding the African component, has really been using the African countries, as I said, as testing grounds for Western originated theory.
Dr. Owen Omojafor, who is our keynote speaker, and she's going to be speaking on Afri-capitalism.
So thank you so much. When we look at Afri-capitalism, I'll start with just right off of this topic page here. We say Afri-capitalism, extending the perspective to building sustainable African international business. The only thing perhaps I will stretch from here is even African international business. It's just building business, right? The way you have the different philosophies of socialism, capitalism, that's how Afri-capitalism also stands, which is the African slant on capitalism. So this is an economic philosophy. It's not a feel-good thing. It's a strong economic philosophy. It's a business investment ethic developed by Mr. Tony Elumelu, who happens to be the chairman of my company, the founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which is Africa's foremost philanthropic organization that is promoting entrepreneurship across the continent.
As you can see out of all these examples, linked to these three pillars is where we have created this new way of doing marketing, which we call the co-creation method. So this method basically helps our customers, in this case students, accelerate good growth at the speed of culture, which is what we want in return, and you can start thinking about stories in a different way, so you can activate your community through this method to achieve.
Today, we are honored to have three distinguished women leaders who are making significant contributions to African business landscape. Gwyneth Jemima, CEO of Essenta, Mary Jane Ohobo, who is the COO, being Chief Operating Officer at Zaron Cosmetics, Colette Amechi, Managing Director of Kohl's Ghana. Do you see a bright future for African women in African business?
Absolutely. I absolutely do. So there's a show that Hair Center we organize annually. Now, we started the show in 2019. It's called Hips Africa. It's a hair and beauty trade show. Now, every year in September, we do this and we bring on board people from all across the continent. We have Tara, House of Tara International from Nigeria. We have multiple brands, who come from the US, the UK, and right here in Ghana, and we come together. And anytime the show happens and I look around, I get so inspired by the passion and the resilience of these women. And I realize that we are as powerful as we can come together. Because what hurts us as women is that we don't want to collaborate. We always want to think in isolation. We want to say, I'm going to do it all by myself. So if we're in the minority, I think we're very powerful, or we're going to be very powerful if we decide to come together and collectively push the agenda. So I really do think that as African women, there's so much potential and we really can dominate. And if you look at our numbers, we far outnumber the men.
Women are awake now. I think women are very aware of what the opportunities are and the potential they have. I think women are very resilient. I mean, we have a lot of talented women. We have women in different sectors and they're actually doing very well in these sectors and they see opportunities for growth and they're not taking no for an answer. So I believe that there's a lot that lies there for women at this time. And I see that we are not sleeping on that. And it's very encouraging when, you look at, like I said, different sectors and we see all of these different conversations and opportunities and women taking the bull by the horn. So definitely it's an upward direction for women in this space, in the entrepreneurial space and in business.
I think research has also shown really that women-led businesses do 78% better than men. Every time I say this, my husband fights me because he's like, I don't know what research you're talking about. But I'm just like, it's not me. The research is there. The stats is there. I didn't make this up. And I'll say two things stand out for us as women. The first one is passion. I think, I'm not saying that men are not passionate, don't get me wrong, but I feel like the passion that women use or utilize rather in our personal lives, we actually carry that over to our businesses and every part of our lives. And this actually makes us stand out basically.
Okay, so the first presenter we have in our track would be Caitlin. She's coming from Loyola University, Chicago, and her topic will be unlocking African e-commerce, understanding consumer experience and systematic barriers. The second presentation will be conducted by Israel Kapekpena, as well as Tia Alpha. I hope that I pronounced the names all right. With the title, Employee Focused CSR and Employee Citizenship Behavior, the Mediating Role of Person-Organization Fit. And I want to especially note that Israel is our graduate, is our PhD student, graduated a couple years ago. So we are very proud to have him here today again for our conference. Our third presentation is by Dr. Simon Zufel from Germany, and his title is Advancing Research and Innovation in Sub-Sahara African Tech Hubs.
This presentation delves into the dynamics of African consumers' interactions with e-commerce platforms, emphasizing the potential economic ramifications and the unexplored emotional dimensions of their online shopping experiences.
The topic that I'm presenting on is on employee-focused CSR and employee citizenship behavior, looking at the mediating role of person-organization fit. And this is the presentation outline. And so corporate social responsibility initiatives are already well established in companies worldwide. And our CSR is defined as a set of organizational actions and policies that takes into account various categories of stakeholders through a triple bottom line approach.
When we start considering tech hubs in Africa or in sub-Saharan Africa, we first have to say that there are various denominations such as tech hubs, incubators, accelerators, co-working spaces, technology parks, fabrication labs, hacker spaces, maker spaces.
In terms of articulating what we should term as the next big thing when it comes to innovation in Africa, what should we begin to look forward to?
We need tech startups that are empowering the digital economy. So when you think about that, edtech platforms that can educate, millions of people, as opposed to, in schools where you can't really, move the needle there.
We're in the AI revolution, so everyone is forced to say something that's AI related. And while that is true, you might see a lot of people rushing to build AI just for the sake of it. But from my point of view, there's hundreds of problems in Africa that have not been solved, or are in the stage where you can be building the next stage of the solution people are going to use for the next 20 years, right? So if someone was to ask me what's the next big thing as a young entrepreneur, I would say it's the same problems we have. Healthcare. How do you build something that delivers efficient, affordable healthcare for the next generation? How do you get people to move from low income to medium income? How do people get work in the next 15 years, like Luke said?
I'm looking forward to more collaborations, right? Not one startup can solve all the problems. Paystack can do it alone. Piggyverse cannot do it alone. So more collaborations, more companies deciding that, okay, this is the space that I want to own, and I'm just going to do it very well.
This paper here is titled Emerging Market Firm Path Breaking Process to Internationalization. My name is Juliet Oriai-Fo. I'm an assistant professor at North Carolina A&T State University. And all right, so here we go.
And within a context that is limited by resources and infrastructure, and then also institutions in Ghana, mention can be made of patriarchal traditional culture, and it is within these contexts and institutions that we have entrepreneurial identity.
School of Business. So the intent of the Society and Institutions Division of this program is to capture the macro level research that addresses public policy and institutions intertwined with businesses and entrepreneurship development. In this particular track, we're going to have 3 selected paper presenters. So let me introduce our presenters. Let me introduce the first one, and he is going to present first. And his name is Mr. Christopher Boafo. He is currently a researcher and PhD candidate at the International SCPT Competence Center of the Faculty of Economics and Management Science and Leipzig University in Germany. And his topic is the impact of knowledge transfer through university business linkages on international business competence, evidence from sub-Saharan African Business School.
At the same time, they study full-time. They work full-time and study full-time, often on evening and weekends at University Business School. So in this case, and this is often common among executive MBA students or MBA students, and you could see that in this case, the university serves as a source of learning, and the in-service students also serve as a channel of international knowledge application, and the firms that they work serve as a recipients of such knowledge. And so the question we ask is, to what extent does university business linked knowledge transfer contribute to individual level international business competence among in-service training postgraduate business students?
Dr. Abhijit Roy. Dr. Roy is a associate professor and Anheuser-Busch John E. Jacob Endowed Professor of Marketing at Howard University. And Dr. Roy is going to talk about China's enterprise in Africa, 5 axioms and public policy implications.
So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the literature using an archival secondary data, of what has happened. I've developed 5 axioms that basically define the trade relationships between China and Africa, and more specifically the sub-Saharan Africa region. So here are some of the details. As I said, it really started in the 7th century, but did not take off the way it has until the 21st century. So we're talking about the last 20 plus years. Again, in terms of a comparison of GDP, I think it's fascinating that China's GDP around 1976-77, that's when Mao passed away, was close to $150 billion about.
Dr. Zafar Bukhari, who is the chairperson and professor of marketing and international business at Chicago State University. Dr. Bukhari.
So this was, in fact, the model which I developed over the period of time. And the model, in fact, over here, you will see as like if we set aside 50 acres of land in every town and divide that land into 3 sectors, the main road should carry like a small shopping mall, very small strip mall, I would say. It's a 2-story strip mall where we should offer all kinds of basic human necessities. That is my main theme of the business, was that where every single human being living across the industrial model, they are the like buyers.
Dr. Manyando is a lecturer in the Department of African Studies and the Department of World Languages and Culture at Howard University. He's also the recently appointed Assistant Director of the Center for African Studies. He will discuss the center's initiatives and the inaugural Howard University Zulu in South Africa Study Abroad program, which took place this past summer.
The program that I was fortunate enough to lead was the first one by us here, which is to use African language of Zulu as a conduit for students of different majors to experience South Africa.
We have Dr. Bob Wekesa. He also is the newly appointed director of the African Center for the Study of the United States at the University of Witwatersrand in South Africa. This was the first center of its kind on the African continent. The center is the definitive hub for African-generated knowledge of the U.S. The center was established in 2018 and addresses the gap in distinct research and engagement exclusively dedicated to the study of the U.S. and sub-Saharan Africa. Dr. Wekesa is also currently engaged in a 1-year residency at the University of Southern California.
Over the past couple of years, before its establishment in March 2018, there had been very many discussions on how the U.S. universities, think tanks, organizations, and so forth undertake very heavy, deep research on the African continent, on African people, African societies, and so forth. These essentially are tested by the fact that we have nearly 50 African study centers in the United States.
We have Dr. Murad Dakali. He's the Associate Dean for International Student Engagement and Partnerships in the Mac Robinson College of Business at Georgia State University.
But I'm going to focus on one specific project. This project is titled Building Global Competencies in Turbulent Times, and that is through partnerships with local partners in Africa. This is a grant proposal that we submitted as part of the Business and International Education to the Department of Education that was successful, and we have been managing this grant for now a couple of years with the 1-year extension, and we are hoping to continue this effort.
Dr. Curtis Kidd, he is the director of the HPS Center for Financial Excellence, and he's also the faculty lead for the Global Trilateral MBA program at Howard University.
As you've heard before, the School of Business takes a very practical approach to this matter of cultural competency, and in so so far is we provide a special, unique curriculum inside of the MBA curriculum called the Global Trilateral MBA program. And what does that mean? So that means, in general, you would take a class called Advanced Management Consulting, or you take a rotation of 3 classes. And in those 3 classes, the first class, you will learn the general idea and frameworks that are associated with management consulting.
We have over 180,000 women who come across our products and our platforms. And one of the key things we do to address that is just fighting beauty standards, helping our consumers understand that, as we go through a lot of, issues with our skin, whether you're fighting acne or you're fighting...
Having me, and good question, and congratulations to Uncover for what they're doing, particularly in addressing that question that you just raised. For us, of course, we are a fintech, or more or less a digital bank. So our focus is when it comes to sustainability.
Generally speaking, we think about it slightly differently from most people, because we believe that every investment has an impact in Africa. The question is whether that impact is positive or negative. And that most of the time, a lot of what people come to the
you're having these conversations with investors. And then 2, venture isn't for everybody. I know people say this often, but really take the time to research the various funding opportunities that are available to you. I know venture is a very hot...
And that's really what's going to be the differing factor of success versus failure. Is your product or service essential to someone's everyday life, their business life, their social life?
For example, in Igbo, a language is mentioned a lot in the West thanks to Chinua Achebe's classic Things Fall Apart. We see this idea that names are not restricted to noun phrases, but they can be not just verb phrases, but entire sentences. So for example, Kelechuku literally translates to thank God.
The term Afrosophia is something that I coined, I think, in 1999. As the title of a paper that I gave in Alaska. And at that time, I was newly arrived in the country, and I was trying to see how I could talk about something that is not being talked about by just about everybody. As an undergraduate in Congo.
From Kenya, and I love my country, I love my Ugandan friends and my Tanzanian friends. So we normally use proverbs to make decisions, to guide our way through. And some of these proverbs, I've been using them since I was in middle school. And apparently...
Those words translated to outsider and or colonist. And he immediately became an insider, and he got a lot of good discounts in the marketplace when he used the local languages. And so there was a monetary advantage in using the local...
Democratic Republic of Congo, in Angola, and in Republic of Congo. So, and it's rich in proverb and expressions that convey traditional wisdom.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. Thank you, all the participants, and be well. See you next year.